joined us. Some of you joined us a little earlier today, which is lovely. Thank you so much for taking some time on a Thursday evening to find out more about Fanshawe College, to find out what study options are as your goal is to study abroad, and for choosing Fanshawe. The point of the session is really to tell you a little bit about who we are, what we offer, take questions from you, and we're just really excited that students are so interested in Fanshawe College, and you are part of that interested group of students. So we're starting right now, and it's just about an hour long. We have a few students who will also join us, students from Trinidad, from Barbados, to share their experiences with you. And we hope that you're going to get a lot out of this, and we're there to answer any questions that you may have, which we will take at the very end. Next slide, Letitia. So my name is Cynthia Konnerth, and I'm an advisor, education advisor for some of the islands, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas, and a couple of students from St. Lucia. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, so it always gives me a lot of pleasure, and I'm always so thrilled and excited to showcase Canada, London, Ontario, Fanshawe College, all the study options, life in Canada with students, because I myself came here as an international student a very long time ago, but I'm still living here in London, Ontario, working at Fanshawe College, and I have been here for a long time because I obviously believe that the services, the programs, the opportunities, the options, the future that Fanshawe College can prepare you for is one definitely worth pursuing. So again, thank you for making Fanshawe your choice. Letitia is my co-host. She is from Brazil actually, and is one of our digital representatives. She'll be assisting me with moving slides, taking questions, etc. And Letitia is just as excited as I am to have you guys join us for about an hour of information this evening. So I think we're going to get moving with this. Next slide, Letitia. So again, welcome. We could never say welcome enough. Canada is a country that loves to say hello, welcome, thank you, excuse me. So I'm starting again with yet another welcome to Fanshawe College. Welcome to this evening's information. And we're going to ask you, if you don't mind, to please just make sure your mic is off and make sure your camera is off. I could see who's there, and the ones who I'm seeing right now, they're all in mute, which is great. You can definitely interact with us during the chat. And again, if you have questions, they'll go to the Q&A box, and we'll try to answer whatever questions you may have, but not until the very end. We had our clock change. We did what we call time change on the weekend. So I think initially we thought we were starting at 5 o'clock, but now Canada is on the same page. Not Canada, I should say Ontario. That tells you what a large country Canada is. Different provinces have different time zones. If you are in British Columbia, it's a 3-hour time difference. But here in Ontario right now, which is where Fanshawe College is located, we are at the same time as you are. And I know many of you braved a lot of traffic to get home to be available for 6 o'clock this evening. So again, welcome and thank you. Next slide, Letitia. So it certainly looks in large part like some of London, England. Fanshawe support, what are some of the main services that we offer to international students? We're going to look at the fee, the application process, and like I said earlier, we've got a couple students, one from Barbados, 2 from Trinidad, who are here to share their experiences with you, and then you get a little prize at the end. So we would like you to stay to the very end of this presentation. The whole point of all of this really is to make sure that if you're choosing Fanshawe, and I hope that you are, and I know that you are, your arrival with us is seamless. There are no hidden factors. We tell you up front what's going to be about. We talk about your learning. We want to make sure that your expectations about learning, it's well researched, and that you know what you're getting into. We want to talk about living in Canada, and then of course the supports in place. So the point of this session, and we do many of these, is to sort of cover those main points. So next slide, please. So let's interact. you're going to say what country you're from. I'm going to say, first of all, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm from Chaguanas. For those of you who know Trinidad, I'm from central Trinidad, and I went to Bishop Anstey High School in Port of Spain. So you tell me, what country are you from, and what program do you want to study at Fanshawe? Let's have a look. Okay. I'm not seeing anyone saying where they're from. Healthcare Administration from Trinidad. Carla is from Barbados. Jan is from Barbados. Rosina wants to study photography. Wonderful program. Very sort of practical, beautiful program. Supply chain management. Carla B, a very popular program with us. Yana wants to do journalism and political science. Jada from Trinidad. Evelyn from hospitality and tourism. Kamali looking at radiology. Allison looking again from Trinidad and Tobago, looking at our travel programs. These are all programs. Thank you so much for sharing where you're from and what you would like to study with us. Aviation, we're one of the few colleges in Canada. I think there are only 2 of us with programs in aviation. So choosing us, you're making an excellent choice. And all of those programs, travel, journalism, hospitality, these are all very much hands-on practical programs. So you're not just getting theory. So thank you for sharing that with us. And Trinidad and Barbados are 2 islands that are pretty close in culture, pretty close in geography, but the students come here and the expectations sometimes are a little bit different, and we'll talk a bit about that. So the next slide, please. Okay, so who are we? I mentioned earlier on about the time zone change, and we are in southwestern Ontario. So as you look, we always say to students, Canada is from coast to coast. So the Yukon, British Columbia, you're looking at the Pacific Ocean on that side, and you're looking at Hawaii up on the other side. To the right, you're looking at Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. That's towards the Atlantic Ocean. So when students choose to study in Ontario, we tell them all the time, this is just the first step in a journey to have a new life or a different life abroad in another country. So even if you studied at Fanshawe and we are way down where you see those 2 little black dots within the big circle, it does not mean that your journey in Canada does not extend beyond that, either for co-op or maybe upon graduation. Many students will study with us and then they move to another province, Alberta, Manitoba, Newfoundland, New Brunswick. So Canada is yours, coast to coast, once you make that decision you'd like to study in Canada. So we are in sort of a warmer part. We are southwestern Ontario, and right below us, of course, is the United States. Ontario is one of the most diverse provinces in Canada, and that's one of the reasons students from the Caribbean love choosing Ontario. Especially if you're in London, Ontario, where we are close to Toronto. There's a lot of diversity with people coming to Canada from all over the world, but the Caribbean has always been one of the most popular draws for immigration. So Ontario definitely is worth looking at if you'd like to be in a province that is culturally diverse. Next slide, please. And so Fanshawe College, we are more than 50 years old. Colleges, I just always feel the need to say this. Colleges were sort of designed, invented, brought into being way in the 70s because they needed to have a labor market. So colleges were invented so that students who studied at a college could walk into any job and be able to perform right away. So employability was heavily linked to the education, to the curriculum. So even engineering programs, and I think it started with engineers, where the automotive companies needed engineers who could walk onto a plant floor and begin working. Universities would give them theory, but not the practical exposure they needed. Colleges were brought on because we could deliver programming that allowed a student to learn everything about whether it was robotics, automation, food and beverage, cooking, healthcare programs. Just about any field of study. The colleges were designed so that the students are getting hands-on practical experience so they could meet the labor market needs. So we've been around for more than 50 years, and there are 24 Canadian public colleges. Toronto probably has around 5, London has 1. Every city has a college. So we are the only publicly funded institution here in London. It's us, and it's a university. We have just about 21,000 students, and about 8,000 of those students are international students, and they come from just literally all over the world. We have over 120 different countries where students come to us from, different languages, different cultures, different races, different ways of being, different foods, different dress, which makes for a very rich tapestry of a community that hopefully, if you chose Fanshawe, you'd be part of that. 8 campuses in Ontario, including London, and regional campuses. When we say regional, we mean there are other cities, and we'll look at that slide in a second, but there are other cities outside of London where we also have campuses. But we are very proud of the diversity within our student body, our international student body, and I know one of the mandates of the college has been and continues to be to keep attracting students who come from all over the world. So your learning experience could be one that's pretty global, pretty diverse. I attended a function this afternoon, and I was quite surprised how many professors. There were 3 professors there who were from Jamaica. One was from Guyana. There were people from Trinidad. So even the faculty here in London at Fanshawe is now also starting to reflect the diversity that we want our student body to also reflect. Next slide, Letitia. So we talked about, we said 8 campuses. I see 7 here, but we've got, the first one would be our aviation. That airplane you see, that campus is a beautiful location. We bought that. It's the hangar beside the London airport. We do have an international airport. You can't fly directly from Trinidad or from Barbados to London, but you fly to Toronto, and then you can always get a connecting flight. It's about a 20-minute flight to London, not even 20 minutes. So the airport is where all the aviation programs are housed, and it gives the students hands-on direct exposure to airplanes, aircrafts, drones, helicopters, whatever they need to make their learning legitimate. Beside it is the School of Transportation and Technology, another state-of-the-art building that has won many awards for green space, for sustainability. So if you're looking at things like green machines, green vehicles, diesel machines, agricultural equipment, big bulldozers, caterpillars, harvesters, automotives, anything that moves basically other than a plane. You study at the School of Transportation, and that's just about a 5-minute bus ride from the airport campus. Beside that, I think it's the downtown campus, and that's one of our newer buildings. Again, I keep saying state of the art, and I don't say that lightly because it is. That's a beautiful building, just about maybe it's almost 7 years old now, where all the hospitality programs, so food and beverage, baking and pastry, tourism and travel, anything to do with hospitality is housed in that building. And directly across from it is also our media building. So if you're looking at things like animation, game design, acting, anything along those lines they're housed in the building directly opposite. And again, brand new. The last building on the top is our South Campus, and that's for a lot of postgraduate programs. So I know one of our speakers this evening, he's taking a program that's at the South Campus, and those are mainly postgraduate programs. Postgraduate meaning you have a degree already and you want to do a 1 or 2 year program to give you a little bit more credibility within your area of study. The 3 at the bottom, these are called regional campuses because they're still within the region of Southwestern Ontario, but they're not in London. So if you applied for a program and it was Simcoe or Woodstock or St. Thomas, you need to know that you're not going to be in London and you're going to be at an area campus. For instance, at Woodstock, we have an amazing program called Heating, Ventilation, Air Refrigeration and Cooling. It's a fantastic 2-year diploma, but it's at the Woodstock campus. So if you're there, you're going to have to live in one of those 3 cities. You're not going to be in London. Next slide, please. So we say main campus, and the other campuses hate when we say that because they also see themselves as main. They also see themselves as equally beautiful. This picture we're looking at is a little bit of a clinical picture. It doesn't really show the beauty of the campus. But one of the things we're very proud of with the Oxford Street campus is the green space. It's a huge campus. It's like a little city within a city with a wellness center, the gym, the pharmacy. There's a medical clinic, there are restaurants. We have our library. We have 4 residences sort of erected just around that main campus. Lots of labs, studios. There's so much happening there. And it is, in fact, a beautiful facility that they keep growing, they keep modernizing. The labs, COVID gave us a great opportunity to get all of our labs and classroom space and study areas to get them all upgraded, renovated. So when you come to the campus, students are always very, very pleased and just amazed at how much space they have that belongs to them. We try to promote, this is your home away from home, and we're here for you. So all the sites on that campus and at the downtown campus, it's the same thing. We try to make it a home away from home for the students. All students have access to the gym, so it doesn't really matter where you study, whether it's Simcoe, whether it's Woodstock, whether it's downtown, whether it's the airport, you still have access to the gym, to the wellness center. The wellness center has a lovely rock climbing facility. You can do yoga, you can go for meditation classes, squash, badminton, basketball, football, cricket, whatever you need, you can find there. And then, of course, our pharmacy is right beside it and the medical clinic attached to that. And a lot of students get jobs at the restaurants or the coffee shops on campus. So again, having all those facilities not only makes for good amenities for students, it means that you can get part-time jobs. Our library is commonly called now the Learning Commons. It's a smaller space because all our books are now electronic. And that's always an item of interest for students because we are still used to the old paper and the smell of a library, a real book. But you'll find here that everything now is electronic, but the library has a lot of beautiful study spaces. So if you have a busy house, you have noisy roommates, or you just need a Saturday to sit in a quiet room, you can you can book a space at the library and go there and just get all your work done. The on-campus residences, they are 3 high-rise apartments, and then we have some townhouse-style apartments. And these are all just, within walking distance. You can stay in your pajamas and just walk across and you're on campus. Our labs would be for things like our health programs. Someone asked me today about medical radiology. Well, of course, all of those programs, nursing, dental hygiene, respiratory therapy, paramedic, they all have excellent labs. Photography, the cooking labs, programs like chemical lab technology, or studios again for photography, for fine art, for graphic design. So lots of facilities at the Oxford Street campus. Next slide, Letitia. So the downtown campus, again, I said earlier on, it was 2 buildings and they literally face each other, which is really wonderful because you just cross the street, you're in the other building, and digital arts and hospitality. So as I said earlier, anything in culinary, anything in hospitality, food and beverage, baking, tourism and travel, flight attendant, they're all within that building. And again, because they're in the downtown, they have quite a few restaurants, their coffee shops. Our London Museum, which is a beautiful free Museum London, is just a block away from that. The Covent Garden Market is across from that. There are parks around it. We have the Thames River that runs pretty close by to that building. So students in the downtown kind of have their own little thing going on. But it does not mean they can't live at the residences on Oxford Street. You just take a bus, and because London is small, you're downtown within 10-15 minutes. So those are just absolutely beautiful buildings. They've worked very hard to maintain them and keep them as clinical, as just as creative as they look. They try to keep the classroom space, the lab space, the student lounging areas, they're all kept very modern, very clean, lots of security. Someone from the street cannot walk into those buildings. You must have a pass. So it's a pretty secure building also. Both of them are. I'm very proud of those buildings. Fanshawe did a great thing when they decided to move into the downtown and buy old heritage buildings and convert them into classroom space. Next slide, Letitia. So what is the Fanshawe College advantage? We like to say advantage because, you know what, most colleges deliver similar programs, but what makes Fanshawe have more advantages than others? Personally, I think it's because, again, we've been around for 50 years and more, so we keep fixing and improving and making things better for students, because a better student means a better work environment. It means better products that we could take into the labor market. Our employers are pleased, they're thrilled with us, and therefore our employability rate is higher, above average for the province. Our grads find work, and we're always proud to say Fanshawe has one of the highest employability rates among graduates. Western University is a very large school. That's where I went. However, I know that their grads don't find work as quickly because they are not skilled, they're not trained to enter the labor force right away, into the workforce upon graduating. Our grads all have such practical exposure, practical skill sets. By the time they finish, they can find work. More than 70% of our programs are on a co-op. Co-op means earn while you learn. So for instance, someone mentioned business supply chain. If you're in a program like business supply chain and it's a 2-year diploma, it means you have 2 co-op semesters. It's not compulsory, so sometimes a student thinks, you know what, I just want to graduate. I don't want to do a co-op. But a co-op means you have to find a job that's at least 50% related to your area of study, and the employer has to pay you. It's a great way to begin networking. It's a great way to build a resume. It's a great way to get out of the classroom routine, get you into the workforce. Maybe you're tired of studying, make friends, and you're going to be earning money while you're doing this. So earn while you learn is a great way to complement your studies, but also supplement your funds while you're studying here. We have a lot of partnerships with Ontario companies. One of the things with Fanshawe is for any program that we have, that we offer, you must have an advisory board of employers who are the ones to look at the program and make sure that the program is being designed to give you work skills. So our advisory board is always with employers, and they are like partners with us, which means for co-op, for internships, externships, they can always take our students on. PGW eligibility, any program we offer, because we are a designated learning institution who's funded, provincially funded, you are eligible for a post-grad work permit, and that is without question. Whether you study for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, or 4-year degree, you are eligible upon completion, providing everything's right with your studies, to be granted a post-grad work permit. Some students call it a stay back. So you remain in Canada and you can work for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the length of the PGWP that you were granted. We do not give those. That's from IRCC. That's from Immigration Canada, your post-grad work permits. That's not a permanent residency status either. Students have a PGWP and then they hope to apply to become a permanent resident based on the work that they do while on their PGWP. Then again, our interaction. We are one of the few colleges with students who come from 120 different countries. You may not know a person is from Kazakhstan, or from Peru, or from Brazil, or from Jamaica, or Ghana, or Zambia, or Ukraine, or Germany. You may not know, or the United States even. That's even where we have students. Our students look like everybody looks like everybody. And if you're from Trinidad, you know that Trinidad has a very diverse population. It's hard to look at a person and say you're a Trini. We don't really know. Our people are mixed, same as Barbados. So when you come on campus, it's the same thing. I was speaking with some students last week and I really thought they were from India. And no, they were from Mauritius and they were French speaking. So for me, that was like a learning. I'm like, okay, so I can't judge by the way a person looks where they're from. And if you join Fanshawe College and you decide you would like to become more of a, I'm going to say global citizen, and you want to make friends, it means you have to make friends, you have to talk to people, you have to come out of your cocoon, because the interaction with people from different cultures and nationalities could be such an amazing experience. It's what helps you to grow. It's what helps you to have a broader looking resume. And some people make friends for a lifetime with college mates that they've met. Next slide, please. So program options for international students. We have over 200 academic programs. Academic meaning that you're in a classroom, you're not just on a shop floor, you have theory, you have lectures, you have lab time, you have employers coming on board, you have projects. These are all academic programs. We have diploma programs, which are 2 years, advanced diplomas, so 3 years, programs like civil engineering technology, architecture technology, aviation technology. There's so many 3-year diploma programs, and they're called advanced. If you are in an advanced diploma for 3 years, it means you have a full year of co-op included in that, which would be 3 semesters of paid related work experience. Like, it doesn't get better than that. We also have honor bachelor degrees, and there are quite a few of our diploma programs that articulate into a degree. So for instance, if I want to do business marketing, but I'm not sure if I want to continue, then I can just graduate with a 2-year diploma. But I can also take a 3rd year and graduate with an advanced diploma. Maybe I want to get digital marketing, so I do a 3rd year. Or I may decide I want a BCom, then I could branch off and articulate into an honors bachelor's degree in marketing, digital marketing. Postgraduate programs, these are typically 1 year or 2 years in length. And again, you must have a degree or diploma completed in order to be eligible for a postgrad program. And some of these are also co-op programs. We have programs that are 1-year certificates. So welding is an example. Personal support worker. We even have culinary as a 1-year certificate. We have programs in, like I said, welding. We have preparatory programs. So let's say you don't really have strong biology. So my friend who was asking about radiology, let's say you really wanted to have a strong chance of getting into that program. We would recommend a 1-year certificate in health. It's called pre-health science, and it's a pathway into career programs. So that's a 1-year certificate you can take. And then we have many co-op work options, or sometimes, like I said, they are called externships or internships. We've just erected a beautiful building called Innovation Village on the campus. It just opened a few months ago. And Innovation Village was built so that every single student, regardless of area of study, can get an opportunity to do some actual work experience and liaise with the business community. So everybody gets a chance through Innovation Village to see what the workplace would be like in their specific field of study. So again, if you go on our website, I know we just got a survey done, and I think more than 70% of students said they found out the most from Fanshawe College by going to the website. So obviously our website has a ton of very pertinent, relevant, updated, comprehensive information. So fanshawec.ca/programs-and-courses, it's there. Please go to the website and explore what your options are. Even though you already know what you want, look at other programs. Next slide, please. So we break our programs down into academic schools, and I won't read them all for you, but we start with the School of Building Technology, which would be construction, it would be carpentry and renovation, architecture, civil engineering. Fantastic programs. They are very old programs, which means that we have an extensive employer base for students in those programs. And if you're in the 3-year program, again, that's 1 year of work experience as an architectural technologist or civil engineer. Fantastic program. Our School of Business, Lawrence Kinlan, is the largest school of business, I think, in any college. And we're very proud of how they have also grown. School of Aviation, Aerospace, right down to the very bottom where it says School of Transportation Technology, School of Languages and Liberal Studies. So one of the other good 1-year certificates in the School of Languages and Liberal Studies would be the 1-year program called General Arts and Science. So for a student who did A-levels, but maybe didn't do really well, and they want to get into university, you can also take a 1-year program, or you don't do A-levels anymore, I guess it's CXCs, but they would do, you don't do O-levels anymore, but you could take a 1-year certificate in liberal studies, and that can get you into many universities. So students also use the college as a stepping stone to a university. Even if it's not a degree at Fanshawe, you can also get into a degree at another institution at a university with one of our programs. Our School of Health Sciences, it's smack in the middle there. It's a very reputable school because not many colleges in Ontario offer programs in health for international students. So paramedic, nursing, practical nursing, radiology, respiratory, dental hygiene, all wonderful programs. But if you are looking at any program in health sciences, you must take the 1 year pre-health science first, and we can always talk further about that. But that's just a list of the 14 academic schools that our programs all belong to. Next slide, please. So there we go again, just sort of a visual, that first program. I think that's our carpentry students, our School of Technology. Beside it, we see that young man in his scrubs. He's got his apron and his chef's hat on and the very sterile, well-managed kitchen. And then we have horticulture technician. We have a wonderful program called landscape architecture. And that's a program students don't quite understand. But if you did landscape architecture at Fanshawe, it's a 2-year diploma, and you wanted to do landscape architecture, you can go to University of Guelph and get articulated. You get credit for the 2 years of landscape technician at Fanshawe into a degree in landscape architecture. And then beside that, I think they are probably, that looks like the School of Aviation. And then we see our students with laptops at the end. Why is that slide there? It just tells you that all of our programs are going to be requiring you to have laptops. Everything is quite modernized. It's usually not lecture, pencil, and paper anymore. Students are big into projects. They're into research, collecting information, sharing information. And everyone has to have a computer if you're going to be studying at Fanshawe College. Next slide, please. So it's Fanshawe. We're in London, Ontario, the city of London, Ontario. I mentioned if you were at the downtown campus, there's the Thames River. There you go. It's right now it's filled with geese and ducks because once it gets warmer, the ducks all come out and the geese all come out and they're living on the water, it's really quite pretty. And we are literally 2 hours from Toronto. Most people from the Caribbean know Toronto. We are 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half from Mississauga, from the airport. Anyway, it's an hour and a half. We are 2 hours from Detroit, just about 3 hours to Buffalo, and we are 2 hours from Niagara Falls also. Many of you maybe have already visited Niagara Falls. We are known as the Forest City and the City of Music because the Forest City, because it's so green. You see a lot of green in that image and it's not sort of photoshopped. It is a pretty green city. We have over 334 kilometers of walking trails, biking trails, running trails, and most of them are interconnected. So quite easy to get physical. In the Caribbean, I know we all hide from the sun. If it's too hot, we don't go outside. We live in our air-conditioned cars or air-conditioned malls. When you come to Canada, Canadians love nature. They love being outside. And I know you'll also be joining on that bandwagon. And then the City of Music, UNESCO gave us that title, the City of Music, because of all the many wonderful festivals and world-class music performances that are held here in the city at the Bud Gardens. The Budweiser Gardens, it's like a block away from the downtown campus, and of course accessible by bus easily. We're becoming more and more multicultural. We're now, I think we are the fastest growing city in Ontario, whether that's good or bad, I don't know. But when I came here, I think there were like 100,000 people. And now it's close to 500,000 people living in London. And 56% population growth is due to international immigration. A lot of people come to London because housing is cheaper. So there are lots of families will leave Toronto, they will leave Vancouver, they leave Hamilton and move to London because the homes are more affordable. So when it says affordable accommodation, sure, that's meant for students. But also in terms of people who want to buy a home, they find London to be a lot more affordable. Easy transport access, and every student coming to Fanshawe gets a fan card. That's your ID card with a photograph, but it's also your bus pass. And you're allowed to use that 24/7 on the bus. Once you're scheduled to be in class and you're registered, that's your ID, but it's also your bus pass. If you need to leave London and go to Toronto, well, we have the airport. We have Via Rail, which is a rail service, and there are lots of buses also that will charge you $20 to get you to Toronto. And these are luxury, large motor coaches that will take you to Toronto, to Ottawa, even to Montreal. So really a lot of easy access within London, but also to get outside of London. Next slide, please. So what to do? There's the Covent Garden Market. Again, the wannabe London, UK. If you've been to the UK, you know there's a Covent Garden Market there. I love the market. It's a nice place to hang out, to get a coffee. You can get fresh produce, meet people. In the wintertime, there's skating in front of the market. At Christmas time, it's like a Christmas market at the very front. We've got the beach. That is really white sand. That's our famous Grand Bend. It's about 45 minutes to an hour from London, and that would be Lake Huron. It's a massive, massive lake. My first experience coming to Canada and going to a lake was, what sea is this? It had to be the ocean. It was not. It's a lake, and we have 5 lakes in Canada. We have the biggest, it's probably one of the largest lakes in the world. I mentioned earlier on walking paths, bicycle trails. You see the beautiful brown, golden, yellow trees at the bottom. That's Springbank Park. So if you like nature, there's a lot to experience, a lot to explore. Snow tubing, those students are coming down on toboggans that we have Bowler Hill. It's not a large ski hill, but it sure is enough for someone who doesn't know how to ski, who doesn't know how to snowboard, to get out there and start doing this. And I know one of our presenters this evening, she was working there over the holidays at the ski slope. Port Stanley is another beach. It's not shown there, but it's another lovely beach. That's Lake Erie, and it's about half an hour from London. And I mentioned earlier on lots of concerts, music festivals, lots of cycling. And if you like hiking, walking, London is a place that makes it easy to do all of these things. I love the outdoors, and I could say I've never had a bored day in London where I did not know what to do. Next slide. So how do we support you? Our main services for international students. We're looking at making sure, again, your arrival is seamless. So we do a lot of in-country pre-departure sessions, or we do them virtually. It's always language and country specific. I mean, you speak English and we all speak English, but there are countries where it's going to be Chinese, or it's going to be Russian, or it's going to be Punjabi. So we also conduct those in different languages. We have a very sort of comprehensive arrival support service where if you tell them you're coming, they know your flight, they know the date you're coming. We make arrangements for you to be picked up by the Robert Q Airbus to bring you to London or to Woodstock or to Simcoe. So the Arrival Cares team, and they do a lot of webinars and seminars prior to you coming, so you know exactly what you need to have, where you need to be, how you need to access the supports that they have for you. Sometimes a student doesn't have a place to live yet. They can give you sort of ideas and some leads as to where you could stay temporary housing while you look for full-time permanent housing. So that's the virtual pre-arrival sessions, and they do them a whole series. Right now, I know they're going to be starting next week. For the students who are coming in May, they do a session every day, 10 to 14 day settlement series. Families, if you're coming with a family, you're coming with a spouse, or you're coming with children. Some people are bringing a dog with them. They do family information sessions. Then we also have international student transition and engagement facilitators, and they are the ones that kind of run most of those sessions, and they are the ones who are here to engage you as a student to make sure that you're not feeling isolated, lost, without information, and ready to pull your hair out, because we want you to be calm, we want you to be settled, we want you to be happy, we want you to feel welcomed. The Fanshawe Friends Group is one of the key areas, one of the key initiatives that has really worked hard. And I know they just did a hike a few weeks ago. They do winter hikes, they do summer hikes, they go strawberry picking, they'll go tobogganing, they go to the beach, they may have a picnic, just a social. So again, the Fanshawe Friends Group has been growing and growing, and there's students, I think, from maybe 40 countries. So you're not just with someone from your own country. Fanshawe Friends is from people from all over the world. We just finished International Week 2 weeks ago, where we celebrate cultures and they promote mobility opportunities, which are, let's say you're in supply chain management and you'd like to do a semester in Holland or in Australia or in Japan or in Ireland. You can go and study one semester in another country and you pay the same tuition as you pay Fanshawe, plus you get a $2,300 bursary to help you with settling there, flights and whatnot. So the mobility opportunities, that's every student is accessible to that, providing your program has an agreement with the university, a lot in Europe, and I go Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. So that's something else for you to think about if you're in a business program, for instance. So the International Week, there were dances, there was cultural, there was music. There's a lot that happened where we tried to celebrate the different cultures and the different regions of the world where our beautiful students come from. Next slide, please. So you're here, you've paid a lot to be here, you want a job because everybody wants a few more pennies. Who doesn't want a few more pennies? Students in particular are always looking for ways to find a way to supplement their tuition. So career services is it's a huge area on the campus. Every program has one consultant allocated to that program. If it's for co-op, every co-op program has one consultant allocated to that program. So they will help you with cover letters, with networking. We know in the islands, most of us get jobs because our auntie knew somebody, or father knew somebody, or we know somebody on the inside, so we get a job. When you come to Canada, really, you have no contacts. You're starting fresh. Who do you know? You don't even have references here. So it's really important to get as much support, much direction, as much guidance as possible, so that you could be one of the students holding those signs saying hired. And that's just a little thing that the Career Services Department does. When a student gets a job, they have them posed with a sign saying hired, and we put it on our electronic screen outside of the International Center. But they will help you with career exploration. They do one-on-one appointments. Career Closet is where if you don't have a suit, if you need to get clothes for an interview, you go to the Career Closet and you can borrow jackets, blazers, dress shoes, whatever it is that you need. And they also will help you with interview skills. There's a massive job site. As they said, there are over 30,000 employers will post on that job site. So Career Services is there to help you find a job, find a co-op, also to help you find a full-time job. So even when you're an alumni, you're still privileged to have the help of anyone in Career Services to help you with getting that full-time job. Next slide, please. Again, I mentioned earlier on the employment rate. So as you can see, we are in red and we have been above average every single year. The only time we were pretty close was 2019, 2020, when we were sort of neck and neck with the province. But we are a few points, at least 3 points above the provincial rate for employment. And we're very proud of that. The new ones have not yet come out, but I know we will again be head and shoulders above the employment rate for the province. So between faculty, between the students, between Career Services, something's going well that students can all find work. Next slide, please. So getting involved, I mentioned Fanshawe Friends. There's also a very, very energetic, responsive union called the Fanshawe Student Union, and every student is automatically a member of the FSU. The FSU is a great place you can get jobs there, you can work as volunteers with the Fanshawe Student Union. They do a lot of activities. I know 2 weeks ago we had a beautiful basketball game and there were tickets that they had arranged for our international students. I know quite a few students who went and said it was like such an awesome experience going to a real live basketball game. This weekend I think it's hockey and they were giving out tickets for hockey. So the FSU is your union. Students belong to the Fanshawe Student Union. If you want to start a club, they can help you with that. And they do a lot of activities. They rent bicycles in the summer. If you want to get a bicycle, you don't have one, you can borrow a bike, helmet, everything from the Fanshawe Student Union. They will plan trips to Niagara Falls. They will plan a trip to Toronto, Montreal. They've done Chicago. So the FSU is a very active and engaged body on campus, all run by students. I mentioned library and learning commons, and of course clubs and athletics. We have a very successful athletics team. They started with cricket when we had so many students from India join us about 5 years ago, and they have been number one with cricket, beating all the other colleges. But there's also hockey, there's badminton, there's basketball, volleyball, so golf. So if you want to get involved with athletics competitively, you can try out. But if you just want to also go and play ping pong or shoot baskets to de-stress, it's also your place to go at the gym on the campus, and that's included in your student membership, in your student registration. I don't think we mentioned that you also get healthcare included. Any student at Fanshawe has vision care, dental care, and healthcare, all included in your student membership. Your fan card is what you need to have. Next slide, please. How do we, again, give you information? And from a student's perspective, we have a program called a Digital Ambassador Program. And Neri is with us this evening. So she's from Shogunas, which is where I'm from. And they can chat with students from the Caribbean. So if you wanted to speak to someone from the Caribbean, you can scan that. There's a QR code there, and you can always book a time for one of the ambassadors to speak with you, and you can ask them anything you want to know. If they don't have the answer, they will refer you to someone who does. So a Digital Ambassador Program has been a very successful program that we've been running for students from all. So we have representatives from all over the world who work as digital ambassadors. That's another way to get involved and build a resume. Next slide, please. Fees, cost of living, and application process. I won't speak too much about this because this is very clear on the website, but tuition fees are approximately 16 to 18,000. We bill students by semester. So if a program is 18 or 19 or 20,000, which is what aviation would be, we don't bill you 20,000 up front, but you will get billed each semester, and you have to pay your fees before the start of the semester, or you don't see your timetable. Cost of living per year. If you're living off campus, which means you have an apartment, you share a townhouse, you live in someone's basement, or whatever it is, you're looking on average about $14,000 to $16,000 a year. Most places in Canada will ask you to sign a lease. Not all of them, but a lease means you're signing a document that says, I will stay here for the year. And it means that you have to pay first month's rent, last month's rent, and if you're going to break that lease, it's a contract you're breaking, so there are consequences. But we have an off-campus housing mediator that works for us at the college. So if ever a student has questions about a lease or the apartment they're living in, we have someone to give them guidance and give them some sort of, give them information on how to handle this. Because we're not used to renting in the Caribbean. A young person renting a house, renting an apartment, that's not common for us. But here in Canada, as a student, that's what you're going to be doing. If you live on campus in one of the 4 residences, then you're looking at approximately 19,000. And our residences are not your traditional residences where you go down to a common dining room and sit at a table and have meals. Students can make their own meals, or they can go on campus and buy food. So included in the 19,000 is a $1,200 meal plan. And you can go on campus and buy coffee, buy lunch, buy breakfast, do whatever you need to do, anything but alcohol, but it's called a meal plan. So if you want to stay on campus, we certainly have lots of room there, but it's a bit more money. Across the street, there's what you call the townhouse. They are townhouses, and they're about 17,000. And if you're in a townhouse residence, it is a kitchen. You are really like living in a condominium. But the other ones are going to be your your 3 stories where you share. It's 4 in a 4. They're called quads, so you share. It's 4 people. Or living off campus, which is what the majority of students do. They live off campus. They find a house, they find an apartment, and they share with others. Books and other expenses, that's not included in your tuition. So your books could be anywhere from $500 to $2,000. And when we say other expenses, it could be things like a lab coat, maybe you need steel tip shoes, maybe there's a helmet you have to get, maybe you need to get thermometers, you need a butcher's knife, you need baking supplies, cameras, anything like that would be considered other expenses. And below that, it does say your fee includes health and dental and vision insurance, your bus pass, all your labs, and many programs are uploaded for you. Most students do not have to purchase any programs. All your software will be available to be uploaded for you. Student services, and then of course your wellness center. Next slide, please. So just to breeze through the application process, the journey starts here basically. So it's exploring your programs. And I know there is a link in one of the last slides called Pathways, which we encourage students to use. The Pathways link can help you do an assessment of program fit to see, is this a good program for me or not? So know your programs, choose your program, get the application. You go to the application site, VAS, and all of that is in there. Upload your documents meaning transcripts, graduation certificates, and the page on the front page of your passport. Once you've done that, you have to pay an application fee. It's a $100 non-refundable application fee. It's good forever. So even if you apply for September, but then you change to January or you change to May, you don't pay the fee again. You just change the start date. From that, you're going to receive your offer of admission. And she's pretty quick with that. It's a 2 to 4 day return. You will hear if something is missing or if in fact you got an offer. And then they will ask you to make a tuition deposit. That has to be paid in order to secure your seat and to allow you to apply for a study permit. The rest of the fees, you may be asked to pay the whole first semester fees in future. That was not the way in the past, but moving forward, I think they're going to ask students to make that whole first semester fees, which is refundable, less $250 if you do not get a study permit. Okay, so all of this hinges on the last step, step 9, applying for a study permit. And if you are denied a permit, you can get the money back if we see the rejection notice. Okay, so that's the process. And I know if any of you or all of you are interested, we can definitely have some one-on-one conversations about when's the next intake. As you can see, we have January intake, May intake, and September, and lots of seats still available for this September intake. Next slide. So this is something new for us, Border Pass, and we're mentioning it because some students ask, how can I get help with applying for a visa? Border Pass is a company we've just sort of linked with. So if you are in fact applying and you have not yet applied for, if you've already applied to Fanshawe, you got your offer, you've paid your fee, but you've not applied for a study permit, we can send you a coupon code to have you link with Border Pass and they can assist you. I'm saying assist, they don't grant visas, they don't grant study permits, but they can help you with managing that whole process. And it's affordable in that you don't have to pay anything. So again, if this is what you're going to be doing and you want to use Border Pass, you need to let us know, book an appointment with me, and I can send you the link and the coupon code to start affiliating with Border Pass and creating an application for a study permit. Okay, next slide, please. So we're going to start with our students, and I think we have Naib Nicholas starting with us, and I'm not going to say anything more. I'm going to let Naib do the talking, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes, Naib, on who you are and what's your experience so far. Are you turned on? There you go. Thanks, Naib.
Oh, hey, good night, everybody. Right, so my name is Naib Nicholas. I'm a relatively new student here at Fanshawe. I started in the fall semester, so September 2023. And as the slide says, I take the Healthcare Administration Management Program, which is a postgraduate diploma at the South Campus. So I can't really speak much of the main campus. I can more speak on the South Campus, but most of it will still apply. So if I was to say anything to students who have already applied or who are thinking to apply, I just want to give you guys a little heads up on some stuff. So one, the Caribbean is really small compared to other countries. So when you guys get here, you will kind of be like a minority, right? There won't be much Bayesians, much Jamaicans, much Trinis, right? Which is kind of a good and a bad thing. So when you meet people from the Caribbean, more than likely you'll be able to make a really good connection with them, and you'll be able to be friends with most Caribbean people that you meet here. All right, and for the young people coming, there aren't much Caribbean spots that sell food. So, you should try to learn to cook something, if you at least your favorite dish before coming to Fanshawe, right? As Cynthia said, when you come to Fanshawe, your ID card is also a bus pass, right? You can use this to go, well, all over London specifically, and it's free of charge. Well, it's included in your tuition course, but it would be my advice for you to use it and go out and explore, because London is really nice in terms of the nature, right? There are things to do, I would say, throughout all the seasons, even though some people, when it's winter time, they tend to stay inside, but London has so many trails. You can walk, you can ride bike, you could go stand by the river. Trust me, there's a lot of things you can do when you come up here. It's not like you come and you think it's like a big concrete jungle and there are not much outdoor activities to do. Trust me, you can always find things to do here. All right. And to touch on Fanshawe itself, well, I can only speak on the South Campus, but my professors so far has been really good. Right. I would say the professors here, you can make a connection with them because the classes tend to be smaller than what you'll be used to, like in UE, where it's hundreds of people in a class. So you could get to know them personally, and if they like if they like how your work ethic is and how you do your schoolwork, some of them may even like offer you jobs. So like I had one professor offer me a job at a hospital, but it's not in London, and I don't have a vehicle, so I couldn't take the job. Same thing with one of my close friends. A professor offered him a project management job in the US, but he just didn't have the certificate that would be required, right? So it will be a little different from going to a university where the class is big and you don't know your professors. So it may take some adjustment, but it's a really positive experience. It's a little different, but it's very enjoyable, I will say. And if you're wondering about like how the winter is in Canada, London specifically, the winter isn't that bad, to be honest with you guys. TV, movies, people will kind of over-exaggerate it and make you think like, oh, it's like a blizzard every day. Trust me, people go outside, they live their life like normal. Once they have the appropriate clothes, they just get like a winter boots, a jacket, you will be fine. Okay, if you go to like Calgary or Edmonton or Saskatchewan, one of the colder provinces or cities, it may be a little different. But in London here, it's really nice. A lot of people said this last winter was a little different. It wasn't much snow. So at least from my first experience, it was really nice. Like no complaints by me, trust me. So it was really good. Last point I had was try to get out of your comfort zone. Like most people would stick to who they know. So the Nigerians will stick with Nigerians, Filipinos stick with Filipinos. Try not just to stick with your Caribbean classmates or friends, because it's really fun to speak with people from other countries, and you can like learn perspective of like new things. And a lot of them are actually just fun to hang out with outside of school. So I would try to say, I'll give you guys advice. You will meet people from all over. Trust me, from all over. Countries you never even hear about, right? So it's nice to meet those people and make like a genuine connection with them and try to, maintain like a friendship, I would say.
Okay, Naib, thank you so much. And Naib's wife also came with him and she's working, so I think she's pretty happy also. And everything he said is 100% true. I'm happy to hear him mention those things that I did not even mention. Thank you, Naib, and we'll see you on campus soon, I hope. Okay? All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you for having me.
You're welcome, Naib. All the best. Yeah. So our next student, it's Niri. I'll let you start, Niri. Tell them who you are, what you're doing. Hello? Niri is one of our student ambassadors, and also from, like I said, she's from Chaguanas. Niri, are you there? Do we want to see if Evelyn is there?
Hey, good evening, Cynthia. Let me just get it. I'm gonna start
Oh,
right. Just give
okay.
me.
We'll just move to Hassani while we wait for Evelyn to join us, okay? Oh, sorry, Niri is there. Sorry, Hassani. Niri just logged in.
Okay, that's no problem.
Neri, you're muted. Neri, you're muted. Okay, sorry guys. So maybe, Letitia, maybe we will go back to Hassani and I'm going to send a message to Neri. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, good night. Apologies for the camera. It seems not to be working. It's not very well. My picture is who I am like normally. As now you said just now, Fanshawe is pretty awesome. Those who would have went to UWE in the Caribbean, think of it. The ideal dream that you would want UWE to look like, feel like, smell like, the ease of access of getting things, the amenities on campus. Fanshawe gives you that experience. Fanshawe gives you that uh, kind of movie-like experience. The only thing I dare say was you start to get a little homesick because there are not a lot of you. For the first time in a long time, you are in the minority. It is hard for people to understand us because we in the Caribbean, we speak really fast. And there's different ways of dialect. It's quite hard for them to understand. And it's only this week that Cynthia would have put me on to the couple others of the Beijing contingent. So my heart is now full. Nice. And pretty much the winter, as he said, is not all bad. You can do a lot. But what I will say is that when you come up, there will be days that you miss home. But you come out, you do your work, and there's us Beijing that here that we if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Cooking for me is ideal. Um, because as you said, you don't find a lot of Caribbean stuff, so I walk up with all my seasonings, my peppers, my taste the flavor, the meats, because you don't really get it at that level that you would get it back home. And pretty pretty much that's it. The process was pretty seamless. The learning style is a bit more technological where you have to hold accountable for your schedule and it's easier to follow. They have the lot the in-class assignments that you can do. You do the tutorials and get marks for that. It's simple and just get marks for completing in-class question or home class and going so far that contributes to like a percentage of your overall mark. And the tutors are really there to assist you. So I would my financial experience has been fantastic so far.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Hassani. And again, Hassani is from Barbados, and his experience coming as a Caribbean student is probably very similar to Naib. And I met him last week, and I must say he was pretty pumped and pretty excited about being a student at Fanshawe, and also had already found a job, a pretty good job too. So he was busy trying to mix school and work and a social life and winter, and I think he's adapting really well. So thank you for joining us this evening, and look forward to seeing you on campus also.
Hi, it's working
Neri,
now.
thank you, Neri, thank you, Hassani. So Neri is up next.
Yes. So my name is Neri. I am in the business supply chain and operations. I am on my fourth semester. I am almost done. I'll be done on the 20th of April, will be my final day at Fanshawe. It was an amazing journey at Fanshawe. It felt like I was just here yesterday, to be quite honest. I did my 4 semesters back to back because I started in winter of last year, and it was an amazing experience. I didn't expect the time to go this far. Fanshawe has so many different things to offer. I am part of the ambassador group. It's amazing. You meet different people there, and every month the ambassador group have like a little party basically where everyone come together. It's an appreciation party for all the ambassadors. And it's nice. You guys can join. It's just have to register online and be part of the ambassador group. There's like competitions where you could win Fanshawe gift cards to use at Fanshawe. And one thing about Canada, what's recognized a lot that I noticed from back home, it's a lot of volunteer work. I volunteer at a lot of things. Fanshawe Ambassador is one. I volunteer at they had a cancer run. CIBC Bank had one, and I volunteered last summer. It was really nice, and it helps a lot on your resume because we are from the Caribbean. We don't have much job experience when we come, well, no job experience. So volunteering in school as ambassador program, Fanshawe has a lot of volunteer stuff you can volunteer for. We have an open house coming up soon. You can also volunteer, and they always treat you at the end, which is really nice. At Fanshawe, you make a lot of different people. As Naib said, come out your comfort zone. I made a best friend. He's from Congo. His name is Andre. Really nice person. And as he said, there's not much Caribbean people, but luckily where I live, downstairs is a barber shop that's owned by Caribbean people. So it's really nice to be around Caribbean people. And Fanshawe I'm at the main campus. I do yoga. I love yoga, and it's all free. All the sport is free. You just go online, you book the time slot, and there are different time slot that you can book. If it doesn't work with your timetable, it's throughout the day. So sometimes you have breaks in between classes. You can do it there, and then there's a gym where the bathroom is. You can use the bathroom to refresh to go back to classes. And one of my advices, make friends with your professors because a recommendation goes a long way. Because when you apply for a job, they would ask you for a recommendation, and you really want a recommendation from a professor. So you want to be active in class and pay attention. As Cynthia mentioned about the co-op, I did not do my co-op, so it's not compulsory. I dropped my co-op because I just wanted to finish fast, and I finished. So the co-op is not compulsory because I saw someone is doing the supply chain also. And you could drop the co-op during the semester. So in your second semester, you can drop the co-op. I also met and I met a new friend who lives in my building. She's from Barbados. She went to Fanshawe and she's a yoga instructor. And she started teaching yoga at the Covert Garden, which is really nice. And yeah, that's about it for me. Oh, and I know Cynthia mentioned the bus and the GO train to go to Toronto. I have family in Toronto, and I take the bus like every other weekend to go to Toronto. It's a really nice experience.
Okay.
Fanshawe you would not regret it. You would not, for sure.
Thank you, Neri. And I know you're not just saying that because I've seen you and I know you're well adjusted, well adapted, and you're always happy. And I know you've made a ton of friends. So
Yeah.
thank you again for joining with us this evening.
Thank you
And
guys for having me.
best of luck with the rest of your studies. We'll see you
Thank
soon. Okay, Neri, thanks again. Okay, so those were 3 students. We just wanted them to share their firsthand experience with you, not just what I'm saying. And definitely everything they've said is 100% correct. And we have 2 free vouchers we'd like to give you. For one thing, if you do decide you're applying to Fanshawe, the fee waiver, that's the $100 application fee. Book an appointment with me and let me know you'd like to apply, and we can talk about the application, and I can send you a coupon so you don't have to pay the $100 application fee. And then again, we can also give you a coupon, a voucher to be able to use for Border Pass to get you started. If you have already applied and you did receive an offer and you have not yet started your application for study permit, I can send you again the voucher for Border Pass. But I'd like you to make an appointment with me before April 15, so just about a month, and let's have a chat and let's get you rolling with this because we want to welcome you to Fanshawe. We want to have you speak at the next webinar. So to book an appointment with me, we do one-on-one appointments. It could be Zoom, it could be a WhatsApp call, whichever way is convenient for you. So book an appointment and we can discuss your study plans. We can answer questions. Kamali had asked about radiology. Please book an appointment and we can talk and I can explain to you what's the best way to get access to an admission for a program like that. And again, you scan this QR code or you can email me directly, cconnerth@fanshawe.ca. And some of the materials that you will get once the session is over, we'll send you a copy of the presentation, Pathfinder, which is what we recommend students use to help them find a good match for an area of study. The view book, where you could see all our programs, our website, and a flyer will also be sent out to you by email. So I'm not sure, we're going to have a look and see if there are any questions. I think that was the next slide, Letitia. Oh, there you go. And following us, of course, there's a lot of videos on YouTube. I should also say that. Fanshawe International, Instagram account. But every time I go on the YouTube for Fanshawe, I'm amazed at how many videos are posted from students about the programs they're in or that we have also posted. So please follow us on Instagram and please let's stay in touch because we want you to enter our doors pretty soon, whether it's London, Woodstock, Simcoe, or St. Thomas. So let's see if there are any questions that were not answered. I know it's been a long hour for you. So Letitia, are there any questions in the chat or Q&A?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I
but
haven't seen any questions.
let's wait. Oh, we have one.
Okay, I'm not seeing it. There we go. Okay, so you said there was a question because I'm not seeing a question.
Yes, Everlyn is making a question in the Q&A box. Can you read it?
Actually, I'm not seeing it.
I
Yeah, I
can share
can't
with
see
you.
it. I'm
One
sorry.
second. No problem.
I know Trinidad just finished with Carnival, so everybody is perhaps quite calm right now, and this is their downtime. So you had a blast at Carnival, and if you are thinking about study abroad, this is the time to do it. I always tell students making the decision to go abroad and study, if you're feeling that passion and you feel that intent, don't sit on it. Because if your goal is to become a permanent resident in Canada, the earlier you apply, the better off you are. Okay, the question is, are there grants available for international students? We don't have entry awards, if that's what you're asking for, and international students cannot apply for loans. So it is really mandatory that you have access to funds to pay for your school year. There is no scholarship. If you are a student, however, Naeem just got $1,000 scholarship, and so did Evelyn, actually. We have scholarships we offer. Once you're on site, you're on campus, you are eligible to get an entrance award, although it's given out in your second semester. There's also something called a returning student award. I think that's $1,500. There are some in-program awards. So some programs will have an award you can also apply for. So we don't give you a scholarship at the onset, but you are eligible to apply for bursaries or any in-program awards once you're here. Naeem's background, I know he worked in the medical field before coming here. And the program he's in, there are 2 people from the medical field, both from Trinidad, who are in that program. And most students in that program, they want to get sort of behind the scenes working administratively in the medical field. So that was his background. So he's in a postgraduate program, and it's a 2-year postgraduate program, which means he's eligible for a 3-year postgrad work permit. There was no mention of your Toronto campus. Please provide some information. Right now, there have been a lot of changes with immigration. As of January 22nd, some new regulations came into place, and it has severe impact on private colleges. Our campus in Toronto was a private college. So at this point in time, we sort of not really focusing on that. We are waiting for the dust to settle, and I would think in another couple months we'll know exactly what's happening with the Toronto campus. So unfortunately, I can't offer any information about the Toronto campus at this time. Sports scholarships, and if so, what sports? We don't have sports scholarships either. But the students who are involved in athletics, many of them have so many perks in terms of they get jobs in the athletics department. They may get sponsorship for events. They get clothing. There's so much you can get, but not a scholarship per se. They have awards they give to students, like an outstanding athlete, and sometimes it is monetary, sometimes it's not. But there's a lot of opportunity for growth if you are athletic and you want to be involved in sports. We also are always looking for people who are good with golf. So golf, cricket, basketball, volleyball, badminton, squash. These are all sports that definitely we're pursuing. Is the fashion course different? The fashion isn't difficult to join, but you have to learn how to sew. You can't do fashion if you've never ever held a pair of scissors. They do a lot of pattern making. But our fashion program, they do beautiful work, and I know they've gone on tours to New York. They've gone to Paris. They do fashion shows here in London, and they work heavily alongside the music students. So if they're doing a fashion show, they get a whole sense of staging and runways, and it's a lovely program. You won't be bored 1 minute, and you'll be busy. Very, very busy. And a lot of students from that program also work as entrepreneurs on the side, where they could do dress fitting and alterations and whatnot. But it's also merchandising based. So a good program. Well, it's 7:15, and I think you guys have been very patient, very attentive, and I do appreciate you spending an hour with us today. And I look forward to many of you booking appointments, if not all of you. Even if you have applied and you've accepted and you still have questions, please book an appointment, and I will get back to you, and we can talk at using whatever means is convenient for you. If there's no appointment and let's say you work until 5, I can also call you after 5. I'm happy to do that, or on a Saturday if that's convenient. So thank you so much for your attention. I'm going to say welcome to Fanshawe in advance, and Letitia has helped me with this, and my name is Cynthia. So again, thank you for joining us. Okay, bye everyone.